Okay. All right. I came across this and I thought this was very interesting. Okay. I had no idea that this was a thing, although I probably should have known that this was a thing. So, Greg Popovich on how he helps players with social media. He says, we bring in speakers to talk to players about the negatives of social media. They don't have to live every moment wondering what somebody's saying about them. The more you can depend on your teammates and yourself to find your place in the world, the better off you are. Guys, the San Antonio Spurs got the best program in the NBA. There's a reason why Doug McDermott wanted to stay with San Antonio. And he was basically pleading for the state of San Antonio. I do find this very funny because you guys know that we maybe a couple months ago, I don't know, that we went over a potential burner from Malaki Branham. Don't know if it is. I mean, I guess that's the point of a burner. We don't know if it was, but it was a lot of commenting when people talked trash about him. But we have not seen anything since, nor is that account even still up. And I find that pretty suspicious. If it wasn't him, then wouldn't they just still be chilling? Like, I don't know. I think that's kind of strange that it just disappeared. We already know that we've had players have issues with social media stuff. Very few players have issues with social media prior. We had DeJounte Murray, prime example. He just can't stay off the internet, and it does interfere with his day-to-day games. At least with us, I would notice that the more criticism he'll get, the more aggressive he will play down the stretch of games. That's just something small I would see, and not aggressive as in a good thing. I mean aggressive as in I'm literally not even playing in the confines of what we got going on offensively. I'm not even looking at who's hot right now. I'm just taking the shots. It got a little bit more egregious. The more criticism, more things he got involved with when it comes to social media. So this stuff is really important. And I think that it's great that we do have this type of system to help these guys because they are kids, right? They are kids. I mean, we all are on social media. I mean, literally, we're on a social media site right now. Like, and honestly, I'll be real. I would hate for any player to really see any of my videos criticizing them because I don't want it to mess up their game, you know? Like, just focus on you, focus on what you got to do. But yeah. What's that? That's not Malaki in the court. That's Mr. Freeze because Malaki ain't this bad of a player, bro. Malaki played good last game, okay? You gotta be nice to Malaki. He played good. Malachi's social media makes you realize he really a kid. They're all kids. They're all kids, really. When it's all said and done. More minutes for Blake, less minutes for Malaki. Malaki played well, at least last game. I haven't given up on Malaki, guys. I think one thing about Malaki is that I don't know if he necessarily fits with this team because we're not tailoring the game to him necessarily. Like, what he needs is a pick and roll heavy offense, and that's not necessarily what we run. He's had to resort to being a spot up shooter, and he never was that. He was never a spot up shooter. He's always had a good shot, a quick release, but he's never been a spot up shooter. And the Spurs, because of the personnel we have, that's the way that we have to play him. And it's unfortunate. I think if he was with another team, that they will be able to tailor things closer to his talent. Keep in mind, Malaki is not a guy that the San Antonio Spurs were even expecting to get. Like, he was supposed to go lottery, if not right after the lottery. The fact that he fell to the Spurs is insane. He wasn't supposed to fall to us like that. He's a really good player. But once he failed, the Spurs knew, yeah, you can't really pass up on this, especially since we didn't have Wemby yet. We didn't know what the future held. You have to basically get the best player available at the time. I thought Sohan at the time, in that moment, he was the best player available. And with his age, it was like, okay, you're going to get a lot of versatility out of this guy. Malaki, he was supposed to be a lottery pick, landing to you, you got to grab him. Blake Wesley really showed out during his workout with the Spurs. Him and Malaki both showed out against each other, and they were like, we got to get this guy. And more of a project because, you know, all his tools haven't came, you know, together yet, but you knew that he could be one of the fastest players in the NBA. Let's grab him. So that's kind of where the Spurs mindset was at the time. And now that we got our generational talent, now it's starting to sink in, like, okay, we have to evaluate what this looks like. And I don't think Malaki is untouchable. I just don't. I don't think, and as far as a trade is concerned, I don't think he's untouchable. But I don't think it's his fault either. I don't think we need to sit back and be like, oh, Malachi's trash. Oh, he's garbage. He's this, he's that. It's like, no, he's playing in a way that's not tailored to who he is. Right? It's not bringing out his best attributes. You're watching a good shooter have to turn into a specialty like 3-point shooter, and he's never been that. But every now and then he could go off. But he's just never been that. If Malaki can't learn to get out of his head and increase his confidence, he's going to get traded. So one thing to keep in mind too, like, because you guys know we go over like the history of a lot of these guys too. Especially with Malaki, it's funny that you say that is because when he first started playing basketball, apparently he was really trash. Like, he admitted to it that, oh, I was garbage. I was terrible at basketball. So he didn't have a lot of confidence starting off. And it seemed like it always took either a coach or it took a trainer to kind of push his buttons a little bit. Or sometimes, I know we looked at the footage of, super young Malaki, where he started getting going after another player fired him up. So he's one of those guys that need a fire under him a little bit. Very similar to what Danny Green, needed with the Spurs. So I think he's confident in his abilities, but at the same time, to like really wake up and ignite him, he does need somebody to kind of get onto him here and there. Which, I'll tell you this right now, if Malaki stays with the Spurs, he's getting the Danny Green treatment from Pop. It's a good thing, but he'll get that. He'd be really nice off the bench, taking on the scoring role in the future, in my opinion. Yeah, it would be nice. That's the thing, though. We just have to have not a complete offense tailored towards him, but at least the personnel, right? Like, you're going to need some more shooters. You're probably going to need a legitimate big man backing up Wemby that's decent in the pick and roll, so you can actually utilize Malachi's strengths. Right now, you can't really utilize it, right? Malaki, one of the worst defenders in the NBA. Number 7, bad at 3-pointers. Seriously, he needs to go. He's super young too, dude. I mean, he is super young. Like I said, and defensively, yeah, that's bad. I'm not even going to pretend like Malaki defensively has been good. But he is a good player. It's just a matter of if you can get the right personnel there, that will help with that. I agree. Oh, wait, who are you talking to? He said he'd be really nice off the bench. Okay, and then you said, I agree. I believe he can be a 22 point per game scorer off the bench. Yeah. I mean, 22 points per game is a lot. I don't know about that. Maybe like off the bench, maybe 16. Danny Green played defense. Danny Green did play defense. But, I mean, I'll tell you this right now. Malaki will be a much better scorer offensively than Danny Green was. So, take that what you will. It's his sophomore slump. He's got to overcome this, and if he does, I believe he'll be a great player. I think not only is the sophomore slump, but like I said, I don't think our personnel is tailored towards what Malaki is. Malaki in college, that's the type of player he was. He was a pick and roll guy, primary ball handler. Like that's who he is. That's the type of player he is, and he's a 3-level scorer essentially. But he's phenomenal in the pick and roll. We don't really have a team that really helps that. Right now, the Spurs just have him being a spot-up 3-point shooter, and that's not what he is. He's never been that. In the NBA, a ball handler needs to shoot threes. He can shoot. Malaki can shoot. Malaki should have more plays designed for him. His in-between game is elite, but he misses his chances to take them. That's true, too. You need to understand one thing. Modern NBA is about shooting. I understand that, but Malaki can shoot. I mean, I just, gosh, it will be like, it's, I can't really make it a comparison because Malaki is so young. I don't know. Just think of anybody on the team. I don't know. Devin Vassell, right? Like, Devin Vassell has had slumps where he shot poorly, right? But we know what he's capable of. We know he can shoot. And Malaki, like I said, the chat said as well, he's in his second year. He needs an offense that's slightly more tailored towards him, or at least a personnel that helps him, and he'll be okay. The last game, yeah, but 30% at three-pointer is not what any NBA team needs. Look, our team overall is poor, right? Like, our team overall is pretty bad at three-point shooting. So, yeah, I don't know. I get what you're saying. Yes, he'll have to improve, but I don't think that that's evidence that, like, Malaki can't shoot or he's not capable of shooting. He's shown that he's capable of shooting. He has a really nice shooting form. He's just not a spot-up three-point shooter. He's still one of the worst. That's fine, dude. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and, like, go to bat for it. I just think Malaki, I don't know. He doesn't have to have so much hate. Malaki is a mid-range guy. Stop shooting threes. He's a three. He's three level. But yeah, mid-range is his bread and butter for sure. He's a pick and roll. He's more of a pick and roll ball handler type. Like Trey, he can shoot, but he shouldn't shoot. Trey can't shoot. Okay, so Trey, if you're comparing Trey with Malaki is a significantly better shooter than Trey Jones. Like, significantly better. Trey Jones has never been a shooter. Trey Jones has never been a good shooter at all. Malaki can shoot. He has the shooting form and everything. He can shoot. The magnificent 28%, Malaki 30%. Yeah, I get it. The percentages are bad. All I'm saying is my whole point is just because the percentages are bad during a season doesn't necessarily mean that player isn't capable of shooting well. It could be a lot of things that just has to do with the way that you're used on the team. It could be your experience. It could be the personnel with you. Teams don't leave Malaki open that often. I mean, we just don't have the personnel. You're not really going to see how good Malaki is until we get the right personnel. And now it's just a matter of the Spurs saying, do we want to stick with him or do we want to package him for something? But I'm cool with us sticking with him. I think you'll get to see. Just give it time, okay? Just give it time. I think you'll be able to see. If they keep Malaki, you'll see how good he is. He is a good player. He wasn't a projected lottery pick for no reason that season. But yeah, anyways, good stuff here. I think that's awesome. Yeah, great program over there, San Antonio.